where David's supposed to be.
You spoiled the surprise. Or did you already tweet that?
I tweeted that he's featured.
So you did.
Thinking people will show up if it's not the same people. Oh, speaking of not the same, did you see what I got today?
Yes, I went to the website. What rocket engine? That's just the fairing and stuff, right? Like, where's the whatever it's called?
Oh, I have
Where's
to
the
order
actual
that
guts?
part. This is the SpaceX chassis.
Yeah, that's just like the pretty paint on the outside, right?
It's the ST's engine. It's the standard.
May I offer you the feedback, Damien, that saying just to anything is very minimizing.
It is, which I tell my son all the time, because he always begins the answering back with, "I'm just." It's like, that's just an excuse coming out of your mouth right now.
Oh, absolutely. Just like you're just trying to get it to compile, and then we ship it.
I only say that because I saw your tweet, and I hurriedly went off to the SpaceX website and went, $29? That's oh wait, that's just like some paint.
Well, yeah, but still, I mean, I got a SpaceX.
Very cool.
I got SpaceX swag.
Oh wow, look at you.
I got the giant SpaceX mug, which is like, just to be clear, you can't really tell, but
that's big.
You could beat a man to death with that right there. That is a freaking mug. That's a soup mug.
Is that a space-proof mug?
It does float in space, but it's too heavy to send into space.
Does this go with the teapot that's floating out in the?
No, that is. I broke my knuckle just then, beating on that mug.
Does that Falcon 9 you have do a vertical landing as well?
It does with a parachute.
On a drone?
Cool.
Will it land on a drone? Wake me when
it is reusable.
You need a drone.
Yeah.
I have a drone.
No, like a landing drone. The barge.
You have to land it on a drone barge.
I'm going to actually have it land
on
the drone in the air, and then I will bring the drone back down.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm trying to up-level Tony Stark because...
How many viewers do we have now, Scott?
104 people have been abused. See,
so it's my theory that David Fowler just ran out of the room and he's not coming back. He fled
David
the
Fowler
interview.
is in the potty.
Well, then I can tweet on his behalf because he's left it completely and utterly open right here.
I can't get this video to be not blurry and not.
It looks fine from this side, like better than fine.
The fact is, it is blurry.
Okay.
All right. Fine. Good. Q&A. Why does it say the feature is disabled?
Because the feature is disabled.
I have an idea. Why don't you enable Q&A while I start on the spotlight?
Yeah, I will look for the button that does not exist that turns it on.
Can we welcome the viewers?
Welcome, viewers.
Welcome to another episode.
Okay.
Hello. I didn't see you.
Oh, it's John Loves Community.
I sure do.
Loves.
Okay, every week I'm like, how am I going to have a few links here? I'm not sure. And then there's like a billion of them, and then I have to like cut them down.
Don't rush.
Okay.
People love this.
All right, Ben Foster talking about a feature he noticed in ASP.NET Core, which is patch support for APIs. So here he's got JSON patch support, and really cool. So updating, resetting property values, all kinds of stuff. So this is cool. One of these hidden gems in API support. This is Armin, and featured a lot of posts on his in the past. Here he's talking about DI and using it to load up different services depending on a request.
Scroll up for a second. I just have to give this person credit for a custom image with the title in the picture. Like, it's from a blogging perspective, it almost looks like The Verge. You know what I mean? It's an attractive blog.
Yeah.
I think that the llama-looking thing there, or the kangaroo, monkey, whatever that is, it makes me want to read more.
.NET Liberty. I love that blog.
Yes, good stuff.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so two from Steve Smith out on the ASP.NET doc site. There's an updated doc on layout, and going through explaining layout. And here's another one on filters. So continuing to see a lot of great stuff. This filters one, very in depth, explaining filters and
the doc stuff is looking really great right now, and that's a good opportunity for people to get involved in open source. And people are noticing these docs. I mean, these docs I think get over 1 million page views. a month. I have to get the exact numbers from different Dan, but it's a ton, and people should write. So if you see a little gear there on the side, help us write some docs. Or a spanner, or whatever that's called.
Yep. So here's from Shahed. Here he's talking about entity framework, and this is a popular video that came out during build. What's cool about this is it's a 40-minute thing digging into EF from an app developer point of view. So he's not like showing off cool features. He's more saying here's how you'd use it. So I really like kind of how he works through and does a lot of migrations and kind of app workflow kind of thing. Here's a reminder. This is from James Chambers. We get people asking about open source and ASP.NET Core sample apps that they can look at. So this already project is part of the humanitarian toolbox. This is just really good, and there's a lot of people working on it. It's an active project, so this is a really cool place to both get involved and also to look at some up-to-date code. Here's something from Rahul. Here he's starting on a series looking at building out a movie manager project. He's got quite a lot of client-side technologies as well as back-end technologies. So
Toaster
nice.
JS.
Yeah, yep, good one.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of good stuff. Here is from Julio, and here he's looking at this nice short post, but explaining how we've moved from web config to the new config
lovely
model.
blogs, John.
I know.
I mean, seriously, these are. I mean, the blogging is back, people.
Yeah.
Own your words. These are really nicely formatted. People are doing some real valuable stuff here. I would encourage people who are listening, the 152 people who have shown up here today, to go to these blogs and leave them an encouraging comment. Because comments are worth 100,000 page views as far as I'm concerned. I'd much rather have a good job comment than lots of page views. So yeah, tell these people this is great stuff.
Yep. And as a reminder, all these links, these are out on the post that we do on the WebDev blog post every week. So all these links will be listed there. This is a great meaty post from Luke talking about ASP.NET Core on Nano Server Preview. So a lot of information here, in-depth walkthrough on building out ASP.NET Core with Nano Server Preview, deploying it, all kinds of neat stuff. So that's highly recommended. Another great one from Shane Boyer. This one on Kestrel is a static server for Angular. So Kestrel serving up your Angular, static resources. So this was a cool one. This came in over Twitter, a question about using Service Fabric, using Kestrel to run Service Fabric. And so Ben Adams pointed us over to, this is from Wida, and here's an example on doing exactly that. So it's a sample using Kestrel and Service Fabric.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff, people.
Yeah, I know, it keeps coming.
It's bringing a tear to my one good eye.
All right, now I'm dropping German on you, but I actually use...
Postgres is not German.
It's not. But if I undid the Google Translate, it would be all one word.
You did Google Translate.
I did. So this would all be
Microsoft Translate.
The title would be Postgres.
That was. Yeah. We have to edit that part out now, John, because I don't know what that was.
It would be one giant word. That's what I'm saying. That's German. So. That's how you do German. You just put the entire paragraph into one word.
Welsh, maybe. I don't know.
I think maybe Welsh. I think with German you just add multiple N's at the end. Consonant with the two N's.
All right, so enough. Here we got Postgres, Heroku, and ASP.NET Core, ASP.NET 5 Core. So great stuff.
I would just like to apologize to all of our German watchers.
Yeah.
We would like to apologize for all the Germans. Everyone who is joining us from Germany. John Galloway is actually not German.
Web accessibility checker, Mads Christensen. Amazing stuff. He does one a week.
This is lovely. Is that all of the downloads we have? Hit refresh. There must be more.
No, that's it. I mean, maybe. Well, look, there's two more as we're talking. So good stuff.
What's interesting about that is very, very cool, is Visual Studio added web accessibility linting basically back in, I think, VS 2005. It's actually part of the existing HTML editor in VS, but it's the old editor, not the new one. We actually have two HTML editors in Visual Studio. And I think it checks the WCAG or the Section 503. What's the American thing, Scott? Do you know?
508.
508.
It's Section 508. It's a federal thing that it's like a standard for web accessibility.
We actually had that in Visual Studio before. It was geared and centered around web forms, obviously. But this one is obviously infinitely better because it's a Mads Christensen extension. And so I'm sure it will be amazing and driven by Schema Store and updated at a band and all that wonderful goodness. But yeah, I just kind of smiled a bit when I saw that. I thought, oh, everything old is new again. This is great.
So speaking of blogs that put a lot of effort into design and all that, here's another one from Mohammed Rahan Saheed. And here he's talking about social tag helpers for ASP.NET Core. So he's done some cool tag helpers we've looked at in the past. This one is cool because it's making it easy to integrate things like Open Graph and Twitter card support.
Wow.
Yeah, so, these things...
That stuff is really useful.
It's super useful, but it's a pain in the neck to put all these tags in, and so it's really nice that he's built out a tag helper to help with that, right? This is exactly the kind of thing I was hoping to see with tag helpers.
Yep.
Here's a nice post from Hans. This is using Auth0 bearer tokens and hooking those up with ASP.NET Core. So Auth0 is a nice authentication kind of front end service, and here he's got that hooked up with ASP.NET Core. REST bus is something that a listener pointed out to me. This makes it easy to talk to ASP.NET Core and other service stack and web API all using RabbitMQ front end. So that can be difficult in other circumstances. And he includes some kind of throughput numbers, and REST bus is pretty nice for it's comparing pretty well as far as performance there.
This is like ASP.NET over random transports, right?
Yeah. Yep.
It's crazy. I saw it could be for.
And finally, here's Salsa. This is just good to know about. This is in Visual Studio 15 preview, and they've got a new language service for JavaScript. So in the past, it was actually executing it, and now this is moving to using static language service, and so you can get some new features in it and also better performance.
So, yeah, that's awesome.
That is all the stuff. So. Yes.
Was one of those open source projects called Salsa?
Yeah, well, it's not. It's
new language service.
Did you just put a jacket on?
You're wearing a jacket.
No, I didn't.
John, hang on a second. Did you literally just change your clothes?
I most certainly did not. So, Salsa is actually the language service, and I don't know if it's.
Are you petting that cat evilly?
I'm definitely not. I would like to draw attention to other people on this call.
I'm not sure what's worse, the cat or the fact that you actually put on a jacket.
Well, he could have drawn a scar on his face as well, just to really get the whole.
Now we're gonna cut to another. We're gonna cut to another shot of John, and he's just like putting the scar.
This was my request from Barry Dorans, and I actually bought this cat. I bought this cat, and my daughter comes in every day and is like, "Can I have that cat?" I'm like, "No, that cat is for work."
You realize, John, this is not helping. The Microsoft is not the Death Star. Like literally, there's proof now that someone at Microsoft is like, "Yes, we must destroy you. How can we destroy you, Pinky? We're gonna take over the world."
Have I ruined the stand-up by now? I think.
Yeah.
By now.
Yeah.
David.
Yeah. What's up?
You're back from the bathroom.
Yeah, it was great.
Welcome to your guest starring role on the podcast on the show here on the cameo.
Yeah.
Did they let you out from all the programming or whatever that you do?
Yeah. Programming. Yeah.
Meeting.
Feels like he works in TV. Head of programming.
Oh, yeah.
Real something.
Here's a couple of things to think about. We've got the broken QA thing. I tried to turn it on, it won't turn on. But people loved the demos that we did last week. Can we do some demos?
I have demos. I'm so happy because I literally just got a thing working. So
No questions.
Ship it.
yes,
Easy.
it is made up of a few daily builds, but they're ones that people who are about to watch this can follow along with.
Get push before the fire drill because.
Yeah, exactly. So let me share a screen. Oh my goodness, Hangouts. Which screen do I want? Is it screen one?
Is
The
that
one with the thing on it.
The windows show up as screens
Oh,
as
wow.
well. Anyway, so Tell me when this is good. You can see.
I see your command line interface.
Okay, so what this machine I'm running on, my Surface Pro 3, is the one I paved last week. So it literally has very little on it. And I, just before the call, installed a daily build of the .NET CLI, which is why we've been working so hard, because DNX is going away and we have this new thing called the .NET Core CLI. I installed a daily build of that, I installed Visual Studio Code, and then I kind of followed the bouncing ball with some samples that we have to get stuff working. So let me show you. So I went to .NET/CLI on GitHub, and if you scroll down here, they've actually got a really nice breakout of the matrix of downloads that are available. And so I'm on Windows x64, so I chose the .NET Core SDK installer. So just bear in mind there are two here. There's the .NET Core installer, which just gives you the runtime itself. You would use that if you're on a server, for example, and you didn't need the actual SDK. Like, you didn't need to be able to compile. You don't need to be able to do .NET Run, all that type of stuff.
It's like the JDK and the JRE?
Right, it's like the JDK and the JRE, or the .NET Framework Redist versus the .NET Framework SDK, right? So I downloaded the .NET Core SDK installer. I want to show people just how small and quick this thing is. So I'm going to hit download. You can see it's 24 megabytes, and it's finished already. Okay, so I'm on good internet here. It's probably 100 megabits, but still, that's done. Actually, just to make this demo really interesting, why don't I uninstall?
So we can really follow along in this?
Yeah, look.
It's not going to mess anything
I'm
up?
going to totally prove this. So I'm going to uninstall the SDK. Watch.
If I do this, will it break my computer?
Done. You ready? No, what's using it? No, let's just live dangerously. People like to see these demos. Okay. Close. Let's do that.
Take a VM snapshot first.
You ready? No VMs here, dude. This is live. All right, so that's done. Uninstalled. Right? That's how quick it is. I'm going to run the installer. Here it is. Install.
.NET Core installer, not the SDK
.NET
installer.
Core SDK. This is the SDK.
Big one. The second one from the left.
The second one from the left. Done. So that's now installed. If I go to the command line and I type .NET, stuff works. All right?
Ooh,
.NET,
how do you have that little, what's that little thing next to master?
This is PoshGit.
PoshGit added a little glyph?
You have to go to PoshGit and re-sync the repo every week and run install. Like, they add stuff all the time.
Oh.
That's been there forever.
That sucks. I've been on an old version.
Yeah, you've been on an old version. So that's one of the advantages of paving your machines every few weeks, is that you get to see
For the record, I put in a whole list of things to make the installer prettier.
Yes. Yeah, the installer's a little ugly right now, but we will get that fixed. Anyway, so now I have the .NET CLI, and if I type .NET --help, right, there's all the commands available to me. So I have the CLI. Next thing I do is I need an editor. So I went to code.visualstudio.com, and rather than hitting the big download for Windows button, I went to this yellow banner up here. See the March Insiders release?
If I already have it, can I do the
They
same?
are side by side, sir.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's
so
exciting.
if I,
This is like Canary version.
well, they have a Canary as well, which is different. So let me.
This is too much to even. This is too much to even deal with.
The truth is, they did a really good job.
I'm impressed how you did a great job of making your start menu all custom and everything. I can tell that you customize Windows obsessively.
Yeah, no. Like I said, I just paved this last week. I live in the command line, dude. What do I need a start menu for?
Touche.
Okay. So the point here is down on my start bar now, you can see a taskbar. I've got a blue for mainline VS Code and green for Insider's release. To do what I'm doing, you need to get the Insider's release. Okay?
How do I know?
What's that?
I'm still getting the version of the .NET. When I type .NET, it doesn't tell me the version.
You do .NET space -- version or -- info to see the wall of text.
Unknown option version.
.NET -- version.
Unknown option version.
What happens if you type just .NET?
I see.
What version do you have?
I was going to say, I think he's got something else in his path.
Super old.
No, I just did what you said. I just did. I ran the installer.
So when you type .NET, what happens?
I get the .NET. What's it? It says .NET command line interface.
You are the worst command line.
must be
You are the
super
worst telephone support person ever. When you type
DOTNET. .NET
Yep.
command line interface. Usage, arguments, common options.
incredibly old. You have that, so it's not running the one you downloaded.
Yeah.
I think you have one in program files, or
On
one
your
that
Mac.
VS laid down, a very early build somewhere that's on your system path before this one.
From your
Okay,
top.
so your
You do-
installer did not detect that.
Well, so it depends on how you got it, because when I did this last week, I did it on a
Installed it on
machine.
Christmas Eve, apparently.
Yeah, I did it on a machine that had an older nightly build using the previous installer technology, and it detected it and blocked me. It said, you can't install this until you uninstall the old one.
His is older. I think.
His is even older than that. I think
Mine
it
is
cost
from
me
Christmas
$300.
Eve, it says.
Wow, that is like epically old. So you need to get rid of that one. Just get it off the top.
So that wasn't a good idea, is what you're saying?
You were coding on Christmas Eve?
Well, that's another whole
It
conversation.
is now April, and you're still using the same install of Windows that you had on Christmas Eve.
No, it's like I'm on a daily build of Windows.
But you haven't reset your machine since then.
No, I haven't reset my machine since Windows 7. This is the same machine Jeff Atwood built for me 7 years ago.
But you've never formatted it and reinstalled Windows?
No, man.
You've never gone in and said reset PC?
Never.
That thing is amazing.
You update Windows?
Okay.
Yeah, man. I run daily builds of Windows. I'm
Okay,
fresh and new, man.
let's get off this tangent, because there is some substance to this demo. So,
Oh, when does
is
that part happen?
yours working now? I want to make sure yours is working.
Well, I'm doing a repair, so I've done it. Now I type .NET. Now it says usage, and it's very naked.
Good. So now you do .NET space -- version.
2357.
Perfect. So now you're on the same build as me. Okay.
Yeah, it
I
says
got the same thing.
app.dll. That's a little okay.
So now go and get the March Insiders release of Visual Studio Code.
Yeah, I got that part. It's
All right.
green. It's lovely.
Beautiful. Okay, so now what you're going to do
Scrumptious.
you're going to clone this repo, ASP.NET WAC CLI - samples.
Git clone.
So I have done this already, but just so people along can, I'm going to copy the URL here. I'm going to come out of here, and I'm going to RD CLI samples, right? All. And it's going to fail, so I'm just going to do what everyone on Windows does and do this. There we go.
What is the?
Remember the command line to do it. So I have an empty folder. I'm going to git clone, right? CLI samples.
.git.
Nice and small, because it's
Cloning.
literally just
All right. I'm doing it also. Very exciting.
right. So that's good. Then I'm going to do the command line thing first, because I like to test things out. So I'm going to have a look in here. I'm going to go to, let's go to Hello Web, because that's the most simple thing we can do. And I'm going to do a .NET restore. And it's going to download the internet into my NuGet folder.
Wow.
Now I did this earlier, so mine's a little more primed.
That seems a little bit like text heavy. I'm just throwing that out there.
So Fowler is probably looking at this and seeing some things that he didn't expect to happen, but he'll fix that separately.
I guess I just like to.
I think there's some redirections happening here or some downgrades or upgrades we're not expecting.
There's a bug.
Yeah, so that's fine. It still works. So then I'm going to do .NET build. So I got my restore, I got my lock file. Then I do my build. My build worked. Okay. And then if I type .NET run, it's running. Okay. So it says this is now we're in ASP.NET land. So I go to localhost 5000, hit F5, I've got hello world. So that's good, right? I got an SDK very quickly. I cloned a sample repo and I got it working. So that's good. So let's go to the editor now. So let's shut this down. I'm going to go to Windows Explorer and I'm going to cheat. I'm going to go right mouse click and say Open with Code Insiders.
Oh, wow.
Because you ticked that when you installed VS Code, right?
No, I chose not to because I don't like to muddy up my right-click menu.
I don't either, except for my text editor. I really like this. This is brilliant.
Code dot, isn't it, on the path?
And it is on the path, so I can do code dot as well. Except this is the wrong code.
Oops.
Right? So I need to...
Insider code dot or
I don't even know how that would work. I'm just going to do the... I'm going to do this one.
I think it's codes dot.
So, tell me when you've opened it up.
I still can't get the clone. Everyone else is cloning.
Are you on dial-up?
I'm still restoring packages.
Oh,
You cheated by having so many packages.
No,
on
like
there.
no joke, dude. It's a little out of control. I don't know what you're doing over there.
You're still cloning?
I'm still cloning, and he is still.
Are you serious?
That's
Yeah?
a tiny repo.
Well, when 50,000 people try to do it at the same time.
Oh, I mean, our 150 people?
Well, both of those people. I'm just saying, the 3 people who are choosing to do it.
Sure. So I just opened one of the projects in that repo in VS Code. Now, I've already done some of these steps, so I'm just going to tell you what's going to happen. When you open a CS file after you've installed VS Code, you'll get a drop-down, not unlike the one that's come up here, that basically detects that you're using C#, but you don't have the C# tooling or the C# extension for VS Code installed. When that comes up, I want you to not click OK. All right, because what I want you to do is go and get a different build. Yeah, I'll do that soon. So there is no C# support in Visual Studio Code by default anymore. You have to get the OmniSharp plugin to get C# to work. By default, VS Code will prompt you, but we want to get a much newer build. That make sense? So I'm going up to github.com/omnisharp/omnisharp-VS Code/releases. Okay?
Okay, so it was all very impressive until this part.
I know. So in my defense,
This will, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, oh, that's amazing.
In my defense, I missed a step. And I should have done this before I told you to open VS Code. So
right, but still, VS Code Insiders will include all of this, right? So this will all be.
No. So let me be clear what the workflow will be like. So as I just said, when you get VS Code, when you open a project and then you open a CS file, it will detect it's a CS file and prompt you to download OmniSharp, and it will do it for you. You'll just click yes. But right now, that's linked to a stable version of the OmniSharp plugin, not this release candidate. To get everything to work properly, you need this release candidate. All right, so you have to do a couple things manually. So you download this v6. It's an unfortunate file extension for how we're going to use this in a minute. You download this v6, and then to install the v6, you do not double-click it, because you might be on a Mac, for example, and everything I'm doing here you could do on a Mac. You go into VS Code. Let me close this folder, and you file open the v6 that you just downloaded. All right. This is the current Visual Studio Code extension model.
Oh, because a v6 is a zip file.
Correct. So you.
But this is a v6 that's a VS Code specific v6, not one. Well, that's weird because if you double click on it,
it fails.
So that shouldn't be called that.
Well, let's. I'm not going to cast opinions on whatever. Let's move on. So this is what you have to do to get this to work right now, because it's daily builds and all the rest of it. So I open that file. What will happen is it may look like it's not doing anything. This is another thing about this experience a little wonky right now. On my machine, it took about 10 seconds after I opened the file of looking like VS Code doing nothing, and then a little dialog comes down saying C# successfully installed. Click here to restart VS Code. Okay? Yeah. So how long are you two along? How far along in this are you right now?
I gave up.
I'm installing the v6 now. And
at what step did you give up, Scott?
I gave up at the part where I had code installed, and then you had me go off and get a separate v6.
Why?
Because I'm upset the extension is weird. So I'm writing an email about it.
And this, everybody, is what it's like to work with Scott Hansen.
I'm trying to make it right for the customer.
Oh, that's what you're doing. Okay. Never mind, we're in the middle of a demo, and I'm trying to prove that it works by asking you how it's working. I'll just.
Well, now, okay. Here's the other thing. When I installed VS Code Insiders, it said I have Git 1.8 and code wants Git 2.0, so I have to go and get that.
That's because you're running ancient stuff, dude. Like, your machine is so old.
Windows 7.
It's not old.
Hang on. Git 1.8, isn't that the one?
I literally put a new build of Windows 10 on this box this morning.
1.8. Isn't Git 1.8 the one before they fixed that massive SSH vulnerability?
That's probably why I was having trouble cloning that thing.
Interesting. Yeah, that actually might be.
Who installs new versions of Git every 20 minutes? Like, if it works, it works.
No. Okay. I install new versions of Git every time I pave my machine, which is every month or so. Or every...
Why are you paving your machine on a regular basis?
Every couple... I have more than one machine, obviously. But on Twitter, I follow a number of accounts that will tell me when there's a new version of Git, like GitHub for the Git for Windows from the GitHub guys. And it tells me, hey, 2.3's out. 2.3
That's amazing.
There's some good stuff.
No, it's fascinating. It's just a different way of thinking, I guess.
I mean, I just find it hilarious that you're running daily Windows Insider builds, and I'm running a stable Windows build, yet all your other stuff is completely out of date.
Yeah, I suppose. I could say something about how reliably your Surface has been able to run the.
Oh, dude, that is horrible.
Okay, well,
how are you
got
going,
the
John?
latest of everything. Actually, no. I was about to make fun of Scott, but now it says I have Git 1.9.5 installed.
Yeah, so I don't think it's fair to pick on us for old versions of Git.
I will pick on you for whatever I feel is appropriate. So please, people, install Git 2, the latest version for your platform, because it is great, and you won't be vulnerable, and you'll be able to clone stuff from GitHub. which will
Which
usually...
Okay. Which version of .NET command line gives me less debug spew?
What do you mean?
For restore?
For restore specifically?
Like when we did restore, I feel like that's like restore dash verbose.
So as I said, the reason that there's an issue...
NPM3 tells
There's
me
an
like a
issue
lot
there.
of like. Yeah.
That wasn't verbose. That was the default level, and it's telling you those things because there's a bug in one of the packages or something right now that's causing it to do that when it shouldn't.
Dispute.
Yeah, dispute.
Oh, so one package caused that to do that.
Potentially, yes.
Okay. I like
That's quiet, I think. And it
I like
might
the NPM kind of I like myself an ASCII progress bar, an attractive ASCII progress bar.
Which you saw the blog post about how that apparently slows down restore by.
Oh yeah, apparently it makes the thing 10 times as slow, but it's attractive. There's also a plugin you can get that'll show animated GIFs while you are waiting for your NPM restore to happen.
So if you've got this far, I mean, we haven't really done much. I've downloaded the SDK and I downloaded the March Insiders build of VS Code. I cloned a samples repo, and now I've downloaded a V6 that gives me C# support in VS Code, and then I open it in VS Code. You will then restart VS Code, okay? And at that point, you can, as I was originally doing, go to Hello Web, right mouse click, open in VS Code, or just open it manually. It will then, in the background of VS Code, when you open the C# file, you'll see a status bar come up and say that it's downloading the .NET Core debugger. Okay, so it automatically starts downloading the debugger for you once you first open a C# project, once you've installed the C# extension. Now again, this is sounding a lot more complicated than it is. I mean, I just did this with absolutely no guidance, and I'm a complete nutty. So like, I figured it out. It's not that bad, and when it's not daily builds, it'll just work.
It's true.
So I'm now at the point where I have IntelliSense colorization. You can see I've got code lens. We know OmniSharp is working correctly. If I want to look at the status of OmniSharp, look in the bottom right-hand corner. There's the OmniSharp logo and the project name, so you know it's successfully resolved the current project. VS Code has told me that it's missing assets. It just means files. It's missing files in this project that are required to configure VS Code to run the project and/or debug it. Okay, so I'm just going to say yes, please add them. And then over on the left here, it added a .vs code folder, and inside that, it pre-populated this JSON file, which is the thing I was complaining about last week when I tried this. You had to edit this manually. Now this is just set up to work. So now that I've just clicked yes on all the boxes, I can go to Program CS. All let me do startup. I'm going to put a breakpoint on app.run and a breakpoint on the request. I'm going to come down to the debugger. That's the little bug with the little line through it. And see .NET Core launch console is the default. I'm not going to do web. Web just launches a browser after it launches the app. Okay. And this is all defined, by the way, for people new to VS Code in this task.json file, or launch.json file, sorry. Okay. Configurations, .NET Core console, .NET Core launch. You get to define what these tasks do. It's a very different approach to Visual Studio because this is all just like driven from your project.
Zoom in.
What?
Zoom in.
And zoom in a little bit. Okay. So this is what we're going to run. This definition here. All right. Come down to debug, .NET Core launch console. I hit the play button. I get an output window embedded in VS Code. I know you were very keen about that, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
But now the console output is coming into VS Code. Look at that.
Yeah, it's exactly what you want to see.
And I get a warning that tells me I have to do one more thing to have this work. Now, this will go away because we're making a change in the Core CLI right now, is my understanding, to change this default to portable. I thought we were.
I think it got punted.
It got punted?
RTM, yeah.
Oh, well, maybe we'll change our templates.
Soon.
Change our templates or samples. It's saying that the PDB that got produced is a Windows PDB, but the debugger requires what's called a portable PDB, which is a new PDB file format, I think, that we came up with for .NET Core cross-plat. All right? So I'm just going to hit stop, and I'm going to reconfigure my project so that it works. I'm going to go to project.json. I'm going to go to my compilation options, and I'm going to do debug. There's a debug type, and at default, if I hit tab, it shows portable as the default. Okay, I'm going to save that. Come back to here, hit launch again. This time, when it compiles, it does the build before the launch. Note that it figures out that the inputs have changed, so it's recompiling. It's going to produce me a PDB that works with the .NET Core cross-platform debugger, which is what VS Code uses. And if all goes well, it turns orange. And I will hit a breakpoint. There, my app is starting.
Whoa.
So over here, I've got I've got inspection. This is broken right now in this current build. You can't expand these, but these are daily builds. But I hit a breakpoint, right? This is pretty cool. So I hit play. I'm going to go over to the browser again and hit refresh. Now, I'm just going to hit refresh. I'm not going to touch my keyboard other than that. You ready? Refresh. And it made a liar of me. But look, it's flashing. It's probably the Google screening. So it does the same thing. Like it takes the focus, it requests focus, just like Visual Studio does.
Yeah, just like it should. It's saying,
Just
come
like
back
it
and
should.
click on me.
Yeah, and when I did it on my machine before, it actually switched back to the window. But because I'm doing the screen sharing thing, I think it's probably stuffing that up. But there you go. Look at that. I've actually got debugging in VS Code on .NET Core on the new stuff.
So I was able to follow along up until a part where it's not debugging.
Okay, so let me show you that again. I'm going to go back to the files and open the project JSON.
Project JSON, that's where I'm at. Yep.
The compilation options in the project JSON.
I have to go get my kids now.
Okay,
So
and then
step out.
not a problem.
Okay.
And add debug type portable.
Okay, new line, debug type.
Yep, and it should give you IntelliSense, and then it should auto-complete to portable for you.
Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Okay.
Then hit save, go back to the debug thing on the left, hit play again, wait 5 seconds, and you should find it all works.
Wow. Okay. So, and how do I set the breakpoint? I was having trouble setting a breakpoint.
The same way you do it in Visual Studio. You literally just open the Startup CS and click in the left margin.
There it is. Okay, I was clicking on the line number.
Okay.
All right, and there we go, and it's totally going to work there, and run it. Getting the output.
Yep, it's good. Coming.
Compiling. This is so exciting. No, this is cool. I mean, it's watching it, like, as you said, it's not that many steps, especially if I had the updated version of Git on here.
Yeah.
And got breakpoint set.
I'm waiting.
I hit my breakpoint.
Woo!
Come on now.
Awesome.
Wow, and I got my variables. I got everything over on the left. Yep.
Fantastic. Excellent.
Okay.
So that's good. So that is where we are at right today. If you want to try the latest bits, you can do that thing. So just to recap, let me share again. I'll show everyone those sites. Screen one, share that, come down here, do this. So go to the .NET CLI repo on GitHub, download the second column, the SDK installer for your platform. Okay. If you're running on Ubuntu, then look at the big heading here titled Ubuntu installers and do that instead. Okay. Look at the SDK. Then go and get VS Code, and when you do that, look at the yellow bar across the top, March Insiders release. Click that and you'll get this screen, early access to monthly releases, and grab the appropriate installer. I've only tried this on Windows, but I'm going to assume it works. Fowler's doing it on Mac right now and it works, so that's good. Same steps. Then you're going to go to, once you've done that, and make sure you have Git 2.x, all right, before you do this. Then go to OmniSharp on GitHub, grab the latest pre-release, RC2 release candidate for 4.8. Download that v6, and then open that in the VS Code, March Insiders, blah, 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 blah. That will install the extension. Then go and clone the ASP.NET CLI samples, so you've actually got some code that will run, right, starting point, because there's no templates, right now. So you'll have to get one of these, as these are kind of your starting points. These are your templates, basically. Clone that, try it out at the command line first, do your .NET restore, .NET run, .NET build, .NET run, if you want to try it out. Then open that folder in VS Code, follow the bouncing ball. It's going to download the debugger in the background, watch that happen. If it prompts you to restart, restart. It's going to ask you to, a little thing will come down saying, hey, you're missing assets in this project, enable to do debugging. Click yes, it'll add the VS Code file. And then from that point, and then go to the project JSON, and finally add the debug type. Now, we might end up changing the repo.
I'll check it in.
Yeah, so Fowler's going to fix those samples right now to just set the debug type to portable so that this all just works.
I'm checking how fast it is and everything.
Oh, nice. Now, for Visual Studio, when we have a public build for Visual Studio bits for this, obviously that portable PDB thing will work in both.
It works in Update 2.
Yeah, it works in Update 2. So you'll be able to set this to portable, and your project, when you build it, will work. You can debug in Visual Studio on Windows, or you can debug in VS Code on a Mac or Ubuntu or using .NET Core. Okay.
So I know we were skipping questions, but we had one from Nick Craver, and he said, will WinDebug be able to load the new PDB format?
Great question.
In the short term, I don't think so. I think we're gonna have a spec published to see how tools can port to
Right.
either both the new PDB and the old PDB format, and not many tools support it yet.
And that's why it's configurable right now.
Yeah.
So if you need to be able to load an image or a dump into WinDBG or attached to a process, you'll probably want to use the Windows PDB, which is the default right now. However, we have other tools and other things that are going to be available when you're running on core on Linux, for example, that will be able to capture extra metadata, as I understand it, and stacks and things like the SOS for Linux. And I think the eventual goal is that you should be able to like capture a dump on Linux, take the output of that onto a Windows machine, and then use your Windows debugging tools to do historical, basically step-through debugging or analysis, static analysis, using something like WinDBG, with the addition of these new things that we're building right now. A lot of this is fairly nebulous, but there will be guidance about this stuff for RC2 because we understand that people want to go live in RC2 and they need to understand how to do like the things I just said. So.
And this debug format, the file name should be PDBX, just in keeping with Microsoft just putting an X at the end of every file name.
Is that actually what it is, or are you just saying that?
I'm just joking.
Oh, okay.
But DOCX, PPTX, it's just time for PDBX, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point. We should say that. Cool. All right, so that was what I wanted to show you. I was super happy I got that working. Scott Hunter and I will be at Dev Intersections next week on Monday doing a full-day workshop on this. I very heavily suspect I'll be showing exactly what I just showing this next week because this is the most complete dev experience that people can use right now if they want to use RC2 early bits, like dev bits. Otherwise, you really have to just use RC1, which as we know is still DNX based, so somewhat fundamentally different. So that's good. And then what else we got? We've got where you and I are doing a workshop at OzCon in May in Austin, and then we're going to NDC Oslo, where John and I. No, I'm doing one with you in Australia. Fowler and I will do the workshop in Oslo, and then you and I will go to Australia in August and do the workshop there as well. That's a 2-day workshop.
Yep, and in the meantime, I'll be in Helsinki next week, and I'll show off all this stuff because you just wrote all my demos for me for next week, probably for next week. And then I'll be at DevCon Moscow in May. So a lot of great
time of year.
A lot of traveling.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching, and I will engage dramatic zoom out right now.
I can't.
And of course, we can't stop broadcasting because
we can't. We just have to hang up. I should just leave it going.
This is what happened last time, and like hopefully Handsome will come back in at the end. So the people who hang on and just watch the empty screencast, like Handsome's video is still going. Like he's still showing his office. So, can I switch to that? Like there it is. There's empty Handsome. Awesome.
I'm just gonna leave it going and like eat a sandwich and stuff.
Perfect.
That's not weird at all. That's not weird at all.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
are you still here? There's like people who actually stayed. Did it just end?